It's fair to say that the Central Intelligence Agency is one of the world's most legendary spy agencies. Over the years, they've been embroiled in a fair amount of controversy, including attempts to recruit Nazi and Soviet scientists in the period after World War II, and numerous alleged government cover-ups. Cases that the CIA have worked on have captured the imagination of many around the world, and have been the subject of many television shows, films, and books. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 intriguing CIA mysteries. How the CIA stole a Soviet submarine. The year was 1968. Political tension was sweeping around the world, with the United States and the Soviet Union in a lengthy standoff, leaving the world to watch on with bated breath. Soviet and American nuclear submarines prowled the deep oceans, and it's with these missile-loaded weapons of destruction that it begins. That year, the Soviet sub K-129 had mysteriously vanished in the Pacific Ocean. The Soviets had given up on their search attempts after only 2 months, leaving a goldmine of Russian war secrets somewhere at the bottom of the ocean. 6 years later, the US Navy began to search for the missing sub. Frequency waves measured the specialist equipment in the Pacific, allowing them to pinpoint the location of K-129 without the Soviets' knowledge. The US Navy then sent one of their own submarines to photograph the wreck, and the then President Richard Nixon granted the CIA permission to lift the wreck. Believing they could access potential Soviet military secrets by raising the submarine from the seabed. The US Navy, and with help from billionaire Howard Hughes, who authenticated the mining cover story, began to build a recovery ship, the Hughes Glomar Explorer. The ship featured a crane that could lift the sub into the ship from directly underneath the surface, aiding to the secrecy of the project. Disguised as a manganese sea mining ship, the Glomar Explorer set sail for the wreck of the K-129. On July 4, 1974, the ship reached the wreck and began salvage procedures. During this period, a few Soviet ships visited the site of the recovery and reported this back to Soviet headquarters. However, the Soviets brushed it off, and it wasn't until a few weeks later that orders were sent to monitor any suspicious activity in the area. By this time, it was too late. The Hughes Glomar Explorer managed to lift a third of the sunken sub into its hull, as well as 2 nuclear torpedoes. Some also allege that the CIA recovered codebooks and sonar equipments, which were invaluable to the US. After the recovery of K-129, the US government had to delay the publication of the story in the New York Times, as the government believed that this information in the public eye would cause an international accident. The story about the government preventing the publication of the sub-story led to widespread use of the phrase, "we can neither confirm or deny," that many use today. Conspiracy theorists believe the submarine recovery story was a cover-up for another vital mission by US forces during the Cold War. It's rumoured that the CIA was trying to tap into undersea communication cables, or were installing an undersea missile. Either way, the logistics, engineering, and execution of the recovery of submarine K-129 was a great feat by the CIA and will go down as one of their most impressive intelligence achievements. What happened to John Arthur Paisley? A crisp September evening in 1978, John Arthur Paisley, a CIA intelligence officer, had left the agency only 4 years earlier, after an 11-year career during which he was heavily involved in Soviet operations. Paisley enjoyed sailing and was proficient in the understanding of Soviet nuclear capability. That morning, Paisley had been seen crossing a section of the bay aboard his sailboat, only to vanish mysteriously. That was the last time he was ever seen alive. On October 1st, 1978, Paisley's rotten, decomposing body floated to the surface of Chesapeake Bay, between Maryland and Virginia. A 9mm gunshot wound was discovered in the back of his neck, with a weight belt attached to his waist. The body was identified as Paisley's and was initially believed to be the result of a suicide. Neither the police nor the CIA publicly thought otherwise, and John Arthur Paisley was made out to be nothing more than a CIA data analyst. The description couldn't have been further from the truth, however. As well as holding top secret information, Paisley had been involved in some of the most secret CIA missions of the century. As well as this, his humble sailing boat carried advanced communications equipment designed for secret transmissions. Paisley's death had also come at a bad time for the CIA. Morale was low, and amid rumours that there was a Soviet double agent working for the institution, there had been thefts and leaks of top secret documents. After the cremation of the body, the story of the day Paisley disappeared began to unravel. He had left on the morning of September 23rd from a mooring in Solomon Islands owned by a friend named Norman Wilson, a colonel in the military. Wilson explained that he was told by an undisclosed person that Paisley wanted to be radioed whilst out in the bay. Between 5 PM and 6 PM, Wilson contacted Paisley, who asked him to leave the lights to his mooring on as he'd be back after dark. The next morning, the Coast Guard was notified of a boat that had run aground near the mouth of the Potomac River. It was verified as John Paisley's boat, but there wasn't any blood nor any signs of struggle on the boat. The true case of Paisley's death is unknown to this day. However, some people believe that not only did he not kill himself, but that he was involved in a government cover-up, or that he was a whistleblower over the Kennedy assassination. Some even believed that he was involved in Nixon's Watergate scandal. Should any of this be true, foul play or murder could be on the cards regarding his disappearance. Mary Myers' Diary, JFK, the CIA, and the Mystery Murderer. In October 1964, a woman was found lying dead with a bullet hole in her head, next to the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal in Georgetown, Washington, D.C. The woman in question had been heard screaming, "Somebody help me," before gunshots were fired and she fell dead to the floor. The killer was nowhere to be seen, and therefore could have still been at large. Around 40 minutes after the body was discovered, police arrested a man named Ray Crump. Crump's clothes were wet and his hands cut. He claims that he had been fishing, got drunk, and had fallen into the water. However, his fishing rod was still at home, on the other side of the city. After 2 eyewitnesses confirmed they'd seen a man matching Crump's description standing over the body before the police arrived and arrested him, attention turned back to the victim's identity. The woman's name was Mary Meyer. It wasn't her professional life that was particularly interesting, but rather her personal life. Meyer was a well-connected socialite who had been married to a high-ranking CIA official, Cord Meyer. Cord became president of the political group the United States Federalists in 1947. The couple became prominent members of society, but it was Mary's involvement with another man that sparked the most interest after her death. Mary had been seeing President John F. Kennedy. The pair had allegedly got to know each other in high school and had remained in contact. The Kennedys bought a house next door to the Meyers, but after Mary and Cord divorced in 1958, Mary and JFK's relationship apparently took a more intimate turn. Naturally, due to her high-profile connections, Meyer's death raised some wild conspiracy theories. Was she killed because she knew something she shouldn't have? As it was discovered that the CIA was wiretapping her phone, she and Cord Meyer were often accused of being communists. Some people even believe that her death was linked to JFK's assassination. She was murdered only weeks after the release of the Warren Commission report, which detailed how JFK died. Others think that Mary became embroiled in a for-good drugs plan high up in the US government. To this day, her murder remains unsolved. This leaves countless avenues open as to how she died. But perhaps the more pressing matter is, why did she die? The CIA is notoriously secretive of an organisation, and it would probably be true to say that they're undertaking in missions somewhere in the world at this very moment. The CIA exists to keep American citizens safe, but sometimes things can get a bit murky when you delve into their fascinating past. So what do you make of these intriguing CIA mysteries? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and help us by growing this community whilst working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.